Hello and welcome back to part two of the Moodle Custom Report 1 with DML API and Charts.js. It's a short video tutorial and we've already gone through the first part of it, which is essentially the concept, the introduction, the syntax, the demo problem and solution of the custom report part of that. And then we went through to make a student's report what we need to do. Essentially, you record this first part of the lesson. Now we're going to go through the second part. If you have not yet taken the first part or you're not registered and enrolled as a student or user at debonairtraining.com, this is the best time to get enrolled. Send me an email or go to our website and make a request to register, and then you'll be enrolled for it once you satisfy our conditions. Alternatively, if you're watching this video via YouTube channel, then you can comment down below the parts, if you're following it, that you were able to follow it up to, even if you're not registered, and subscribe to the course. Otherwise, just share and like our video, as well as subscribe to our channel. So okay, let's continue now. So we got up to where the page API, we got to using the page API as part of our writing our report, which is essentially up to here. And we have our, so let's just, so now what we're going to do is, okay, let's say this last part, which is the echo, which is the output API part, echo output. We do that header. Then the next step is using the next, well, it's comments here, is using the global variable output to echo the header we just set, so that's at the top of the page. So this header, which we set here, will now go to the top of the page. So that's how we set that one. I'll show you now in my VS Code. Let me change this now back to that view, and we got that one up. So DML reporting we got here. So the only part we need to add now to continue is this echo output header here. So we just copy that one and add that one. Okay, so that one's there, and we got the header there now. Okay, so now we're not going to what we're here for today proper. So we're going to try and make this video about max 30 minutes as well, or less. So we are true to our short video tutorials, supposed to longer ones. It could be shorter by far, but we're going to try. Okay, so the following is a long SQL statement which fetches data according to our requirements. Now, if you recall, one of the reasons this whole thing is a project, it's to produce a learning data analytics software that would include using AI for better learning. And essentially they're for beginners, scratch. You never programmed before, then you now want to become an expert with this great project, all the way to becoming an AI expert. And we needed the building blocks of this software, which is PHP, SQL, MySQL, JavaScript, CSS, and all of that. That's what we started this tutorial with, this short video tutorial series with. Now that SQL that you studied then in the beginning, if you recall, we are now going to put it to great use, because we are having a true solution that needs SQL and MySQL. So let's go to this is where the following is a long SQL statement comes in. Okay, so the SQL statement we're going to need essentially is saying select the user first name, the last name, and the user ID alias as user ID from table user referred to as U. Join the table course referred to as C, where CID is equal to also join table. The grade items table referred to as GI, where the GI dot course ID equals CID. Join the grades table known as GG, where the UID is equal to GG.UI user ID. All of this where the GI.item type equals course and GG.final grade is not null. So that's essentially what we're really trying to say in the SQL code that's going to follow. Note we have already covered SQL and MySQL with examples in previous courses. However, study the demo problem requirements we outlined earlier, then go over this SQL select statement once or twice along with the explanation to grasp it quicker. Now, I included that particular one there because it might take more than once or twice to really understand what we're doing here. So I'm just going to copy all the code here. Yeah, we're going to use to fetch the data. I'm going to go over what we just did just now. Okay, so we're going to copy all of that and going to say okay, the SQL statement ends there. So this is okay. I'm just going to also copy. Let me just put that one there. Okay, and then so I'm gonna put that one there. So fetching the data. Okay, yes, fetching the data. Right. So let's look at this code again. The SQL statement, which is assigned to $SQL, says select UID, u.id as user ID. Select U first name, U last name, and C short name as course. GG final grade as score. From Unix time modified as date. From user U. Join grades GG on UID equals GG dot user ID. Join grade underscore items GI on GG.item ID equals G.ID. Join course C on GI course ID equals CID, where GI item type equals course and GG final grade is not null. Records. Okay, no, that's where the this is the SQL statement, right? So essentially what we're really trying to do again, remember, is to get the scores, the maximum, get the best and the worst scores from the students, okay, according to their courses that they're taking within a specific time frame. That's essentially what this SQL statement is trying to do based on the demo question that was given to us. So let's not forget that. So say to make a student report using Moodle DML API consisting of rows, ID name, consisting of the rows, ID, name, course, score, and date. So this is the SQL statement that will produce this. And we are now in this stage whereby we are fetching the data. Okay, so fetching the data now. Let's read this thing the way I put it here. It say select u dot first name, where u is an alias for user for username. Select u dot first name, u dot last name, and u dot id, alias as user id from table. So u dot first name, u dot last name, and u dot id, alias that no, the last one user u dot id is alias as user id from table user. Okay, referred to as u. So u dot first name, u dot last name are referred to as u, are aliased as u, and user id is aliased as u dot id is aliased as user id. So that much I wanted to be clear about. So then it says join table. Now that's what this one does. Okay, that first line, that's what that one is. So then it says join table course, referred to as C, where the C dot id is equal to also join table. So C dot short name, which is course, and GG dot final grade as score. Notice them, okay, because we're going to join grades on UID and join grade items on GG item ID, and join course on GI course ID equals CID. So wherever we join, when we join the course, it's going to be because of the CID that's equals to on the GI, the user, the item of the taken by the user on that particular course. So this is essentially what is described here. So you join course referred to as C, where the CID is equal to what is also joined at the table, grade items table known as GI, where the GI course ID equals CID, C.ID. Then join the grades table known as GG, where the user ID, U.ID equals GG.user ID. All of these where the GI item type, course, and GG.final grade is not known. So I don't know, after I said that just now, it was clear in your head, clear in your mind, but you might have to go that once or twice again, and it becomes a little bit more clear, and you begin to understand exactly what we're doing here. You know, it's not complicated, but you might seem complicated at first because you cannot see where the entities actually connect to make sense. But otherwise, it is exactly what is required of us, which is what is here. We're trying to fetch data to make a student report where the Moodle DMI consisting of the rows ID, the name, course, score, and date. And we're doing it so that it excludes duplicate records and all of this. Now we are now going to go into the exclude duplicate records. Okay, let's see where we are. Make sure we're not spending too much time explaining what we're doing. So we've already used 14 minutes, and that's a lot. Okay, so that's about half the time we want to spend, really. Okay, so right. So what needs to happen is we need to go into let's just first of all get now. This is where we're now using the DML again that we've already gone through. the records variable called $sign records is now assigned. We access the global DB variable, and we use the get records, get underscore records underscore SQL, and then our SQL statement, which we got here, select statement. We're now going to query it using the get records query function. So get records SQL function is used here. Recall from DML API lesson. Okay. So, and this is how that works. We say records, say DB, then get records underscore SQL, then what that now breaks it down for us so that we can get the records in pairs. Instead of just one record, we get a series of records in pairs. Okay. So step 2, say get unique records, categorizing scores and sorting the scores. So this is what we're going to do in step 2. First of all, let's put that one there, that extra code there. So our code is correct. So we've now fetched the data here. Okay. Okay, so getting the unique record, categorizing the scores and sorting scores. Unique records. So what we do is we declare variables. We declare the variables we're going to need, which is we declare variables, unique records, unique keys, and assign them empty arrays for array convention. So first of all, let's define unique records. And then unique keys. So we got them, and then what we do, what we done, we assign them empty arrays here. We assign them the empty arrays there. So we now use for each. Now, if you recall, this is direct from PHP, okay, which is an earlier one. I think that's in series 2 as well. So when you check the uploaded videos, it's going to be under series 2, or in your the training course is going to be under PHP. Okay, so for each record as record, the key, what is assigned to the key is the record user ID. We concatenate the record user ID, the record course, and the record date. Okay, and we assign it to key. That is for every record. That is every record in there. For each record as record. So we call for every iteration of record, we call it a record. For each record, if you recall, this is a variable record, right? It has an S. So we are saying for each record as record, we are now querying this record as record with no S. And we say we now give it the key. We are now assigning to this key record, the user ID 1, record or course 2, and record dot date. When I say arrow key or record, when I say dot, I mean arrow key, right? Arrow key, in this case, these 3 variables, okay, are now concatenated together here using that to concatenate them. And once we got that there, let's just put that there in there now. Again, this is straight from PHP. That's how we work with PHP. So you must recall that. Make sure you've taken that module. If you've not, then go and take it, or watch that video. So we are on the same page. Yeah. So we got that there now. So we're seeing that there because um, because we opened we got an open bracket there. But if you do that there, you see that goes away. So let's put that there so that we don't go and set up for errors later. So that one's there now. So let's quickly go to this. Say if okay. So essentially what it's saying is the above key is continually assigned as long as it's unique to unique key. Yeah. So if in array, in other words, if not in array, then the key, if not in array, the key in unique key, then thus the in array, this case, let's just read it. It said the above key is continually assigned as long as it's unique to unique key. Thus the not in array is able to determine which of the records. So as long as this will continue finding what is unique until it now finds out that it is no longer unique, and as such it can no longer call it a unique record. So the above key is continually assigned as long as it's unique to unique key. So as long as it finds unique records that are to this standard, it will continue to assign it until it now finds that it is not in an array. There's nothing more to assign in the array, okay, that is unique, and then it will now know these are not unique. So unique records are each record is assigned to unique records when it finds it, okay, and each key is assigned to the unique keys array. Each key, which is this key here, is assigned to unique keys array, and each record is assigned to unique records. So that's how that works. So let's just copy that one and put it there in our code. Hopefully we get that very well. And that last curly brackets is what we're going to copy over, so we put that there, and that's exactly right. You see that there, they close each other up. So we're going to I'm going to put this in so we know that those are comments, so we can easily follow what's happening there. So that's there. So let's go through what it says here. It says in the above code, the above piece of code, we use our first PHP for each loop we learned in the PHP course to go through the value of our DML function. Okay, record, which is record. For each record, the user ID, course, and date properties are assigned to a key. The reverse of PHP function if in array is used to check the records as long as the keys are unique keys. Continue to check them as long as the keys are unique keys. If so, then the record is assigned to the unique record. As long as they are unique keys, that means the records you can find unique records, then we continue to assign them. So we got that one done now, right? So that's how he found the unique records, because he found out that they all formed a key, and the key were made unique keys, and each record was assigned to unique records. Okay, so that's how we know that they're unique records and they're unique keys. So you can go over this again and again until you get it. It can be tricky. Okay, so, and of course, if you have any questions to follow up, you can ask in the comment section. or in the lesson discussion board. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Get category of scores. So once again, these ones are we are assigning empty arrays to variables: best scores, worst scores, and average scores. Yeah, so let's put that one there. So we got best scores, $sign best scores there, worst scores there, empty array again to average scores. Okay, and then we have another one which is user scores. We will use this. We will use this available for calculating. We use this variable for calculating average scores. So this user scores here, we're going to use it to calculate average scores, which is very important. So on that one, let's just give it space, put it there for now. Okay, and okay, so in let's pay attention to what we're doing here. We will use this for calculating. We'll use this variable for calculating average scores, right? Okay, we know that. So the way with this is again using PHP. It says for using it for each loop. It says for each unique record as record. So you're saying for each of those unique records that we've already established, but now as record, it is a record. We are now saying as record. This variable, full name variable, is what is assigned to full name variable. This variable is essentially the record, the first name property of the record is concatenated to this the last name property of the variable record, of the same variable record. So we now get the record first name and the record last name, concatenate them together using this here, these operators here, to bring them together, and we assign them to full name. Again, if you recall your PHP and the lessons we went through and did all your assignments, you will recall how that works. If you are missed or try to recall, all you need to simply do is go back to that lesson and learn again, or reaffirm what you learned. So we now have the full name variable, which we now assign to the record variable name property. So the record variable name property is now assigned the full name. Okay, so we now have the record name as this full name, which is the first name and last name here. Okay, this is now this. Now once we have that, we now assign the record to best scores. Okay, we now assign the record variable to best scores. Remember, for each unique record as record. So we now assign the record to best scores, and we also assign record to worst scores. Okay, so we assigned the record to best scores and the worst scores. What is record then? Which means it's everything that is assigned here until we determine what is what inside of the record. Okay, which we're going to do next. Say if it is not set, this is set is a PHP keyword which is used in functions. Okay, so if it not is set, in other words, obviously you should know by now, whenever you see the exclamation sign, that means not. So if it is not set, user scores rather, and with the method of record user ID, or the user ID property of the record, if the user score is not set, whereby the record and the user ID are not set, then look at the argument here. User scores record user ID is equal to total, where the total is 0, or rather the total is zeroed as a pair, and the count is 0 paired, and the name is equal to full name. In other words, if it is not already set, for those records that do not yet have a user ID set to them, for those for those user scores where the record user ID is not yet set, then the total 0, the count is 0, and the name is equal to full name. What that does is starts counting from there. Okay, let's go back again. If it is not set that the user score, I'm trying to read it in English now. If the user set, or rather, if the user score is not set where the record has a user ID, then the user score with the user ID that is set to the record, whichever user is logged in other words, the total is equal to 0, the count is equal to 0, and the count is equal to full name. Okay, and then after that it says user score record user ID total plus equals record score. So what this means is that for each we are still in the for each loop now, right? For each user score where the record that has a user ID, for each user score with the record user ID, we total it, and that total will, in other words, we're using the array of the total, because that's an array sign there, right? The total of all the arrays, whereby you add continually the record score. In other words, if there was 10 before and it now has 20 in the next record, user score record, you now add it now becomes 30. If it now has 50, you now add it and it now becomes 50 plus 30, 80, and so on and so forth, right? So, and then the user score, the next one is a user score record where the record is user ID, known again, count how many times you do this. Okay, so that's what the count plus is doing. So you continue the count of each time you do this iteration, you do this addition, do this. So if you now do it, okay, like now I just did it 3 times to get 80. So you now have 3 there, and you now have 80 for those additions. So that's how that works. I hope that is clear. Okay, so you can go on and on, but let's leave this one as part 2, and then we'll continue in the B part of this step 2 of the development. Okay, so we'll continue the next one. In the meantime, if you have any comments, you can comment in the comment below. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you are watching this on YouTube. Otherwise, if you really want to get subscribed to Debonair, you need to register and then be enrolled as long as you fulfill our conditions. So thank you for watching this second part of the Moodle report, Moodle API, DML API, and chart.js report. When you come back, we'll go on to the third section. Thank you.